Hi everyone, and welcome back to Life with Casey. I'm really excited today because I'm launching a whole new series. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect for this series and what will be coming next. This new series that I'm starting today, I'm calling International Travel 101. So the inspiration for this series is that a lot of people know that I've done quite a bit of international travel, and within the last month or so I've had 4 separate people come to me and say that they're thinking about planning a trip internationally, or they want to travel abroad but they just feel really overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. Maybe they've never gone abroad before, or they have but it was only through a study abroad program through school or some sort of organized trip, and they just feel completely lost, don't know where to start, and are thinking of contacting a travel agency to plan their trip abroad. And I told them, no, absolutely not. Don't waste your money on a travel agency. You can definitely plan this trip yourself. It is overwhelming, but if you break it down into parts, it'll be so much easier. And so I thought maybe there are many of you out there that are feeling the same thing. You've been thinking about going abroad, thinking about traveling internationally. You just don't know where to start and you feel really overwhelmed by it. So this series is going to dive into all of the individual items and tasks that you would have to complete in order to plan and successfully go on a trip abroad. So this video is not going to go into any of the specific items or the individual tasks for planning your trip. This is more of just a general introduction video. I'm going to let you know where at least the next 5 videos are going to be headed. And then I also just wanted to provide you with some general tips and important things to remember in general when you're going to be planning a trip abroad and traveling internationally. So the first thing that I would advise is that I know that it's overwhelming when you think about all the different aspects of going abroad. You have to book the transportation and the lodging, and you may have to worry about a visa depending on which country you're going to, and then you have to figure out what currency they use and how you're going to deal with that. You may have language barriers if you don't speak the language, and then you can think about excursions and what you'd like to do there. So there's a lot of things to think about. What can help to make it less overwhelming and to make it a little bit easier is to break down your whole entire trip into individual tasks that you're going to need to do in each aspect of the trip that you have to plan. And then on top of that, once you've identified all of the individual tasks, such as booking the flight and booking the hotel or whatever your lodging situation may be, to assign each task a phase. So there are obviously some tasks that you're going to want to get done first and farthest out from the trip, such as maybe the flight or the lodging. And then there are other tasks such as excursions or planning the tourist outings that you're going to have or where you're going to eat. Those can maybe be assigned to the later phases as you're getting closer to the trip. And so I think if you write it all down, come up with all the tasks that you're going to have to do, and then assign or give yourself a specific time period or a deadline to get them done, that'll definitely help make it seem less overwhelming. The second general tip that I have is to give yourself enough time to plan out everything, and also to compare your options. One of my next videos, not the next one, but the one after that, is going to be about flights and how to book flights and how to get the best deal on flights, how to make sure that you're booking a smart flight and you're not going to have a 40-hour layover somewhere. That video is going to be completely about flights and transportation. But one of the ways that you can get the best deal and find the best flights is by checking every single day or a couple of times a week, and then you start getting a sense for what a normal price would be for that flight. But if you're watching, maybe 1 month or 1 week or 1 day, it goes way down, and that's a great time for you to book. But if you're not giving yourself enough time for that wiggle room, if you leave the flight for 3 weeks in advance, you're going to have to pay whatever it is. So I would just advise you to give yourself enough time to complete all of the individual tasks, but to also not rush it, so you can find the best deal, the best time that works for you, the best complete package. The next piece of advice that I have about booking an international travel trip is to utilize all of the resources that are available to you. So when you're going to a place that you've never been to before, you don't know what is cheap and what's expensive. You don't know what's good quality and what's bad quality. So I would encourage you to use internet searches and articles and travel guides, not even in a formal, book, a travel guide in France, let's say. Use the internet as much as you can. Other people that have gone there will will leave reviews. They'll say, do this, don't do this. If you're looking for tourist excursions and you don't want the super touristy things, you can look up articles and what other people have done on their trips and places that are a little bit less touristy and have a little bit less traffic. You can find a lot of good stuff on the internet. And then also I would really look at the reviews and the ratings. My husband and I went to Russia for the FIFA World Cup in 2018, and I had never been to Russia before. I don't speak Russian, and so I was a little bit apprehensive for that trip, especially when it came to lodging. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on a super nice hotel, but given that it is a foreign country and I didn't know how safe it would be there, I didn't want to go with the cheapest option either. I wanted to make sure our choice was affordable but also safe, and sort of the quality that we were looking for. And so I found a couple of sort of boutiques, bed and breakfast hotels, and I compared all the reviews. I looked through every single one to see if there were any complaints about bugs or about intruders or people feeling unsafe. So it's really good when you've never gone before, or maybe if you have gone to that country before but you're doing something new. Use the experiences of other people to guide you into making the best choice so you can have the best trip. And with the internet nowadays, there's a ton of good material out there. There's a ton of articles and ratings and reviews out there for you to make a really good informed decision. And the last recommendation that I have for you, if you really feel like you want to use a travel agency, I would encourage you to not use it for the entire trip. Don't just pay a travel agency, 30 to 50% on top of everything else you're going to pay for to do everything for you. But if you have a specific excursion that you want to go to, a great example is when you go to Cancun in Mexico. There are all the Mayan ruins. There's a ton of underground caves and caverns. I would contact a tourist agency if you wanted to go on one of those preset specific excursions, because a lot of people want to do that, and so they have really good programs. They'll give you lunch and give you water, and they'll give you a tour guide. Some of those things might be better to go through a tourist agency or a travel agency than trying to plan it yourself and not knowing really what you're getting into. But I just strongly recommend don't use a travel agency for your whole entire trip. I am confident that every single one of you has what it takes to plan this and organize it and get all the details and have a really successful trip. So those are my general tips for planning a trip abroad. So what you can expect to come next in this series is one video for each specific item or task that you will have in booking your international trip, such as flights and lodging. I think this will be a longer series just because I want to give enough time to go in depth with each of the individual tasks so that you can feel prepared and you can feel confident when you go to book that flight or when you go to book that hotel or whatever, that you feel confident that you can do it and that you're making a good decision. So I foresee that there will be about 8 to 10 parts and individual videos in this series. Some of them may be more applicable to you than other ones, but I would encourage you to check out all of them in case there's a little piece of information in there that you haven't thought of previously. So I have the first 5 videos planned out already that you can expect to be coming soon. The first one will be how to decide where to go. This may seem a little bit silly to most people. A lot of people, when they want to go abroad, they have a specific destination in mind or they have a specific event that they want to go to, and so that might not be super applicable for everyone, but I know that there are some people out there that just want to get away, they just want to go abroad, they want to see something new, and they don't have a specific place in mind, and so I'm going to give some tips for how to decide where to go and how to narrow it down. The second video will be about flights and transportation. The third will be about lodging. The fourth will be about money management and currency exchange. And the fifth one will be about safety and some precautions that you can take to make sure that you have a safe and fun trip. Other topics that I'm looking into for after those 5 are some cultural factors that you can anticipate before you leave. If there will be a language barrier, how to handle that. The next one could be about some helpful tips, such as you have to anticipate that the outlets are going to be different, and so do you need to bring an adapter? How are your electronics going to work? Other things like what to pack. Do you need medicines for where you're going? Is it a good idea to bring a lot of things, a wide range of clothes, or else just maybe a couple of items and pack light? Those are all topics that I'm considering for videos later on in the series, but look out for some really good things. I'm excited about this. I think this is something that could be really relevant to a lot of people and really helpful in their planning of their trips abroad. One other thing that I will say is I'm in the process of finishing a blog, the creation of a blog. It's going to have the same Life with Casey name, so you can look out for that soon, and as soon as I do have it completed, I will give you all the information that you need. Also, check out my Instagram, Life with Casey. I put a lot of good stuff on there about my day-to-day life and some adventures either with traveling or languages or else just my day-to-day life, so definitely check that out. And I look forward to posting my next couple of videos. I hope you all like it. Thanks for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe to my channel and leave me any comments that you have about my videos or about the content, anything that you would like to see after this series or even within this series. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks!